Hello and welcome to the Curiosity and Consciousness podcast. The intention of this podcast is to help you to open your mind, get curious about yourself and raise your consciousness levels. Through these conversations, we hope that you will go on an inward journey to discover the truth of who you are and become the conscious creator of your life. I am your host, Maloney, and I work as an inside-out coach, mentor and guide, helping women to revolutionize their internal chatter and create a life they love. Listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or whatever platform you choose. And be sure to like, subscribe, review, and share the podcast. Check out my website as well, soulpowerlight.com, for more info. Hello everybody, how are you all doing? It's me, Maloney, and thanks for coming back for another episode. And this week it is me just riffing again on some topics that have been coming up even stronger over the last while. And I know it's the name, Curiosity and Consciousness, but definitely I think touching on the subject of consciousness again is, in my eyes, important, because I do believe we are in an evolution right now, and it is an evolution of consciousness, of expanded thinking, of awakening, of opening our mind, of living in alignment with our heart, with our soul, with our truth, with the higher truth that we are all one, we are all connected, and consciousness plays a big role in that. Even some people would say, or Neville Goddard talks about how consciousness is the only reality. Consciousness is everything. Everything has a consciousness. And we'll look at that a little bit. So what exactly does that mean? Well, even the Mayans, in their perspective on this reality where we live as humans and animals and planet Earth, that this reality exists. You know, it's an illusion. It's not the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is the truth of who we are, that essence, that soul, that spirit, that energy. And that's why we're all one in that sense. But this reality where we live, or this illusion where we live, it is held in place by the consciousness of every human that ever existed, the humans that exist now, and the humans that will ever exist. It is our consciousness that is holding everything into place. It is because there is consciousness on a topic or a subject or whatever it is that thing exists. And this is like quantum physics as well, because in quantum physics, in order for the particle to become a wave, it needs an observer. So the observer is the consciousness that is changing the particle into a wave. And this is why I talk about, and lots of people talk about, how we have so much control over our reality. Actually, anything is possible, without a shadow of a doubt. The only limits that exist are the limits we place in ourselves. And it all comes down to our thoughts and our beliefs that we hold within ourselves. Because if we begin to shift our focus and be conscious of being something that we're not currently, or having something that we don't currently have, it is law that it has to come about if we hold that consciousness. So this is why the likes of Neville Goddard again talks about living in the end. It's already being and feeling as if you would feel if you had the thing that you truly desired, because that is how it comes about. Again, it's law. If we keep our consciousness, our focus, our attention on what it is that we desire, it has to come about. And this is like what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about in the field, is like the quantum field, the consciousness. It's like that invisible force field that brings things about. It's that quantum space where our thoughts, if persisted in, and the feelings, if persisted in, will bring about the thing that we are wanting and desiring. But as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, it's the thought in the first place. It's thinking the elevated thought, or thinking the thought of your desire, what it is that you truly want. It's thinking the thought in the first place. That signals to the field. So that's an energy, that's a vibration. Everything carries an energy and a vibration. So when we think an elevated thought, or we think of a desire that we truly want, we are signaling to the field. So we are sending that energy and vibration out into the quantum field, into the universe, into the consciousness that is. And this is why sometimes affirmations or just thinking about what you want doesn't really change anything. And I know for me, for years ago, I thought that was it. I thought it was just creating a vision board, looking at it and being like, yes, that's going to happen. But no, the thought alone is not enough. And that's all I was doing at the time, thinking about it, visualizing it and seeing it visually as well on my vision board. But nothing was happening because, again, Dr. Joe talks about the thought is like the electric signal that you are sending out to the field. But the feeling, the living and feeling the feeling now of how you would feel if you had it. It's the feeling from your heart that magnetizes it from the field to you. So it's not enough to just think the thought. It is feeling the feeling as well that actually brings it about. And that's the electromagnetic field as well. So the electro is the thought and the magnetic is the feeling that actually brings it to us. And I suppose that's the law of attraction then. We are magnetizing it to it by already being and feeling as if we already had what we truly desired. And that's why as well desires are so vitally important. But desires in and of themselves are not enough. Like that, just to think about what you want or visualize it is not enough, because the desire is vital, but actually when you think about it, to desire something actually insinuates that you don't have it. So what we need to do is to assume the feeling as well that we already have it. So say, for example, you're looking for more money. Lots of people are always want more money, desiring more money. So then the question is, how would you feel if you were infinitely abundant, or if you had the sum of money consistently in your bank account every month that would make you feel really happy and comfortable? How would you feel if that were your reality right now? And then it's feeling that way now already, so we can signal and magnetize it to us, because that's the only way it can come about. So it's about, again, that saying of dreaming a new dream. It's elevating our consciousness. It is putting our attention and focus and awareness onto what we do desire and feeling as if we already have our desires now, because that's what creates a new story. That's what brings about a new reality for us. Because if we're just constantly complaining and thinking about the lack and what's not right and what's missing, well, we're keeping ourselves in that consciousness. That's going to be our state, because that's what we're thinking. That's what we're signaling to the field, and that's what we're feeling. We're feeling pissed off or annoyed or frustrated or whatever it is. So we are magnetizing that to us. That's why what we resist persists, because we are keeping ourselves in that loop. So you need to create a new story. You need to elevate your thoughts. And often to do that, we have to go within as well and look at the deeper beliefs in the first place that are limiting, that are holding us back, that are subconscious, that we're not aware of. And once we can create some new beliefs and some new thoughts, we can elevate and bring about whatever it is that we so desire in our lives. Even Esther Hicks talks about, if you can think about it, feel it, dream it, imagine it, visualize it, get excited about it, that means it's done. That means it is a 1,000,000% possibility for you, because if it wasn't a possibility, you wouldn't be able even to dream or imagine it. So if you can dream or imagine it, it is already yours. It is already yours. But like I spoke about in a previous episode, what's not done though is the inner belief work that we are worthy and good enough to have what we truly desire. So that's the work. It's elevating our thoughts in the first place, feeling the feeling as if we would already feel if we had what we truly desired. And then if any fears and resistances and blocks come up, which let me tell you, they will for the most part, if you're aiming for something new, totally new that you haven't experienced before or brought about before, you will face fears and resistances and blocks. And that's totally normal. And that's our work. That's where we work on. Again, they're the keys to show us where we need to shift within ourselves to come back, to debunk the stories that hold us back, and to create better stories that actually elevate us, that actually support us, that actually make us feel good and worthy enough to have what we truly desire. Because it's those subconscious lower vibrations that will hold us back from magnetizing what we truly want to us. So why am I sharing all this as well? Because I think now for us all, individually and collectively, it is time that we all start dreaming a new dream. You know, for so many years, different authors, scientists, philosophers, whatever you want to call them, have been talking about how we're in the latest evolution. We've been in it for a long time, and it's an evolution of consciousness. And it is up to every single one of us here on this earth right now to bring about this new earth, to literally give birth to the new earth. And the way we do that is through consciousness, but also it is through the darkness. It is not about denial. It is seeing what we have denied, avoided, suppressed, oppressed, shoved under the carpet, whether within ourselves individually in our own lives, but also collectively on a grand global scale. And we're seeing that between Black Lives Matter, protests, Mother Earth, all the environmental issues. We all need to see where we have been unloving towards ourselves, towards others, where we have unhealed pain or trauma, so we can literally elevate. We can raise our vibration and frequency so we can all shift to a higher vibration and frequency and to live in new ways going forward. You know, all this information about quantum physics and actually the power we have and the influence we have over our lives and how we can create any reality that we want. And this is just one reality of many realities. And each of us individually, we all live in our own realities because we're all perceiving things totally different. So that's why it's coming back to the truth, doing the deep inner work that yes, there are loads of realities, but actually when we clean ourselves out individually and collectively, we can see and feel quite clearly that truth of a lot of religions as well, that love is the only truth. You know, we are all one, we are all connected, but we can't get there without doing the inner work. First of all, it has to start with us. Inside first, outside follows. Raising our own vibration and consciousness and choosing to dream a new reality into existence for ourselves, and then others follow suit. And it's like, you know, that 4-minute mile for marathons. Nobody could run a 4-minute mile for ages and ages and ages, like years, decades. And then a couple of decades ago, the first man did, and then after that, so many did it easily within hardly any amount of time. So it's always someone has to go first. Someone has to give permission and show the way to others and to show what is possible. And I know I have lots of mentors and coaches and guides who are showing me that, who have elevated to even higher levels. And, you know, it's my piece to do my work and to share and to help others to do their work as well, because it all feeds in. So I'm not really sure why that was all coming up to share, but hopefully it made some sense. I know it can, I don't want to say difficult, but it can seem a bit confusing to try to get your head around it. But it's available to all of us. And it's all time that we elevate and start bringing our consciousness to new levels as well, to not only benefit ourselves, but our families, our friends, our communities, and the planet as a whole. So let me know what you think. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you get notified every time a new show is released. Get more information on this week's guest as well on my website www.soulpowerlight.com.